How's it going, folks? Okabe here. We're going to be jumping right into it. Today, we'll be talking about Predecessor. Main question at hand here. Is Predecessor going to die? We have ranked mode coming out, though. I've been taking a big break from Predecessor. I've been grinding a lot of it. I got about 200 plus hours of myself. Who am I personally in Predecessor? I'm Enoch. I'm just a guy. I play it a lot. Pretty dang good at it, I would say. Not the best at it, but I have done enough gutless Kai spamming here that I think I know a thing or two. I don't know a thing or three, but maybe a thing or two. So we're going to be talking about some of the things that I think are kind of affecting predecessors. I guess you could say possible success, stunting their growth, making it very difficult for them to really do well. Because I think at the end of the day, Predecessor's an extremely fun game. Genuinely. Like, I don't think I would be putting over 200 plus hours into something, possibly up to, I usually put 500 plus hours into games I really like, but it's a fun game. And I've been playing it with the friends, with the homies, with the crew. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's other facets about Predecessor and obviously the game before it, Paragon, that are clearly shining through the cracks here. So, clearly, and right off the bat, why don't we just start with Steam charts, yeah? So we got Pred here, right? Pred. This is the current. Here, let's actually refresh this just to get a fresh go at it. Okay, see, since I last looked at it, we got 1,000 people getting on, but it is 6:30 p.m. now, so we can't expect more people to be playing. But even at that, the 24-hour peak's 3K, all-time peak 7K, and I pulled this to the top too just so we can kind of get a comparison here, right? Again, what was that? About 3K, it's not even in the top 100. Barely in the top. Does it even crack the top 200 at 2.8? I don't think it cracks the top 200. No. So, again, that's a little bit of a gauge, but on Steam, you're going to have the majority of your people playing Predecessor and all around the world as well, as much as they can. And you have more people playing 2K23 right now. And just to let you know, 2K24 is out, and neither are good. So for other games that are practically non-existent on the radar, to have more people playing that, it's concerning. You kind of question what the fuck's going on. Is this going to be a Paragon 2.0? Is this going to be another failure, another flop? It might be, but let's talk about some things. So we kind of have that, and I know a criticism to kind of counter that would be, we got console players, we got people playing on PlayStation, etc., etc. Unfortunately, Xbox doesn't have kind of what Steam charts has, but PlayStation does. And of course, Fortnite's number one. This is the number of players that are currently playing. Let's give this a refresh as well. And this is the current number of sessions, right? I have to scroll all the way down to 90. Predecessor is dropped, by the way. 62 people are currently playing on PlayStation networks with 478 live sessions. So, and the hours played for this right now too is what? 832 across all of those. It's just nobody's playing it, right? Genuinely nobody's playing it. And, we circle back to, we got to go all the way back to the top. We circle back to Pred here, right? Let's click on it. Let's take a peek. Let's take a look. We've got this pretty graph, kind of shows us. The one down here kind of gives us the entire length, the duration of it. Let's start looking at some things, right? So you have a 6-month gap, which I would say is about, this right here is around the release, I think, of early access, give or take, I'm assuming. And you had a lot of people playing it, people falling off, yada, yada. This peak right here was simply due to a new mode being out. Which, by the way, the big reason that this dipped right away is because this isn't what the game should have been doing at this time. And we'll get to why that's an issue, and probably playing into why Predecessor is failing again. But yeah, so that's what that was. Which, given it was also when it looks like it was the most played ever, for Predecessor, but it was just people checking out Brawl, realizing that it's not good, and just dipping and leaving en masse. So, a little bit of backstory. I'm not going to go through all of this. I want to give a shout out to the rough stuff on Reddit, right? This guy posted this about 7 years ago. It's a little rundown of the history of Paragon. Specifically, this isn't mentioning Predecessor or anything like that. The moral of the story here is pretty much Tencent dips their fingers in everything, and once Tencent has a grasp or a finger in literally anything, regardless of how small their control is or whatever the case is, it's corrupted, right? It's tainted, which is a video for another day. But that's pretty much the moral of this story. We've got some other people in here too, kind of chiming in with like other criticisms of why Paragon failed. You know, you have people that were vehemently against the card system. I played a little bit of Paragon, not enough to kind of have a proper opinion on it, but I do remember the card system and that being a pain in the butt. I mean, they also had some developmental issues and some clashes here and there going on. Like, it looks like in the early game, they tried doing like an instant fast travel to locations on the map, and they realized that wasn't going to work. So they had to like redirect the development for that. They also had, like, they generally were being funded by Epic, and a portion of that funding was actually coming from the Fortnite team until Fortnite shat out their Battle Royale in 2017, and then Epic saw the money signs, and they're like, bet, that's my fucking cash cow. Which, given, went W to Fortnite, man. Love or hate that game, video for another day too, but fucking amazing dev team, amazing fucking everything around that shit. They got the formula down pat, right? They fucking figured that shit out. Super smart on Epic Games, seeing on that early and being like, yep, I'm gonna put my eggs in this basket. That was a win for them. And also too, Fortnite and Paragon, while being funded necessarily by the same publisher, etc., completely different game genres. So but yeah, give this a read when you have the time. This one's a good one to go through. Again, we're not going to be going through every single little detail, but that was the summary of it. You know, you have development issues, you have people taking over, direction changes, not enough funding, marketing, etc., right? You know, we've even got it listed here. This is just some boring article, but for the most part, I mean, the one thing that really kind of shined to me was even back in the Paragon days, they were complaining about balance issues. And that kind of leads me to the issues that we want to talk about with Paragon, right? You know, what's the problem, or with Predecessor? What's the problem with Predecessor right now? Why is it not doing good again? Is it the same issues that we had with Paragon? Is it development issues? Are we having team butts heads? You know, like what's going on? What's going on behind the curtains? You know, I've played a lot in the upper echelons. You know, Plat 3 is like whatever, but in reality, when you think about that in retrospect, I'm playing with the top 4% of people that play this game. And again, we have about 3,000 people playing right now. And, we'll toss in PlayStation, so 3,100, right? And let's say if I were to jump on right now and queue, and we'll fucking even be generous, we'll do 3,500. Right? So I would be playing, if I was queuing with the entire world, the same 140 people. Now, I'm in NA West, so I'm going to be super generous, and we'll say that, 33% of the player base plays in NA West, which is probably false, but again, being generous, I'm probably playing with the same 45 people. That's why. You have the only modes being available are casual, kind of draft picked. You don't get bans. Mirror matches are still available. Why? Never do mirror fucking matches. Take that shit out of games like this forever and always. Make like a blind pick mode, but you need to have like a draft pick. No fucking mirror matches. Okay, so that's a fail. No ranked mode off the get-go. I get the game's in early access. Just dump that shit out, my homie. Put up a fucking warning, hey, early development, super warning, ranked's going to be unstable. But just have that shit in. If not, have an actual draft mode in with bans. There needs to be bans. Mirror matches need to go the fuck away. And then balancing. Balancing. It really feels like the team that is making this for them. Like, you got a group of buddies that are all playing Predecessor, and like that's the team that's making it, and they all do it with themselves. So they're gonna change the game based on how they want it. In short, they're like, it feels like they're not listening to community feedback, especially when it comes to character balances. I've played a shit ton of this game, okay? I have how many matches played? Almost 256 matches played, okay? Crunch is easily one of the most dominant champions in this game, period. And he has not been touched for weeks, for patches, several patches. He has not been touched. Fucking, we got Argus, who they did nerf, but now just pigeonhole into support. And so we've got cheese in lanes now. You've got freaking, who else is Drongo, that in my opinion is like the best freaking ADC in the damn game, who also is just untouched. Like, there's just champions. I'm so glad they got rid of Phoenix. That was a godsend from above. I don't know who heard that complaint, but they fucking did it. But Greystone with a Phoenix before, why? Who thought that was okay, you know? And so it's just like these weird balancing issues that have clearly happened before. You've got a weird sense of direction from the team where clearly other things need to be worked on, and their immediate response is, hey, check out this shiny brawl mode. Come play, come play. Like, homie, bring out ranked. How about some proper champion balancing? How about some bugs getting fixed out or patched out, you know? Like, people have constant crashes playing this game, too. There seems to be some weird, like, error going on in the background. I mean, it's not like I don't know if it's an optimization issue. I clearly don't know enough about to talk about it, because it seems to run fine, but like it'll just crash sometimes. Or like right when you load into the game, it almost seems like you can repeat it if you boil this shit down to a formula of trying to make the bugs appear. I don't know. There's a cascading amount of issues, and it doesn't feel like the team is addressing not only the right issues. It feels like they're trying to address other shit that nobody's asking for. But on top of that, like, there's just the lack of pace, the lack of transparency. It feels like, again, I didn't play a lot of Paragon, but it feels like they're literally just walking in the same fucking footsteps as they did with the game. So it's kind of the moral of the story. What's going on with Pred? I genuinely think it is an amazingly fun game. I don't think that opinion of mine will ever change. I have a lot of fun playing this game. The community can be questionable, but you kind of get that mixed bag with a lot of MOBAs and whatnot. And by no means does that excuse it, just explains it. You know, you kind of get the League scene, the Smite scene, all those toxic gamers and whatnot that creep into it. It's a free game too, so the bar of entry is really low. But another time, another video for that one as well. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. I hold vape in hand while I talk about Pred, dying game, continue dying game, probably. Rank coming out soon, save dying game, probably not. I think genuinely what Pred needs to be saved is like a better sense of direction with just their development in general. And I understand that's a little hypocritical. They're just coming out of ranked, and this is like a win in my books. We needed ranked sooner. You know, I mean, this should have came out before Brawl, in my personal opinion, but it's coming, so we can't complain too much. And again, it's in early access. I get it, you know, excuses, but it's just gonna, the only reason someone like me would make this video is because I truly care about this game specifically, like the style of it, the art of it, the gameplay of it. It's fun, you know? Do I necessarily back and vibe with the teams making it, Omida City or whatever it is, you know, these guys, questionable. You know, I really would like them to kind of have a better direction with what they're going with, but we'll see how things play out. I mean, we're looking at the charts. It clearly looks like it's on another downhill trend. 15th comes out in what, 9 days? Can I math right? Yeah, about 9 days, and we'll get that, a week and some change. So we'll see if that kind of gives it a resurgence, but it ain't looking too hot, Pred. It ain't looking too hot.